much for joining me this afternoon. We are doing a webinar on Boschendal today. We've got this webinar and then we've also got our second one at 5 p.m. So just so everyone knows, if you ever can't make the 2 p.m, we always do another live one at 5. And then of course we record all our webinars and upload them to our YouTube channel. So if you do ever need to catch up at a later date, you can do that very easily. So we will send out the recording following this webinar, and then we will also send you kind of all the fact sheets, rates, images, and hopefully everything you need to start selling Boschendal. So let's get going. So Boschendal is an incredibly historic farm, which is the second largest and second oldest wine estate in South Africa, and it's this beautiful Cape Dutch style, as is the case so much in this area, and it is an enormous farm, so it's 1,800 hectares, so it is really huge, and has just so many amazing accommodation options, dining options, and activities here. So the farm is located sort of almost equidistant between Franschhoek and Stellenbosch. So in a really lovely location, if guests want to use this as a base to explore other areas of the winelands, and is actually only about sort of just under an hour and a half from Cape Town, and even closer, about an hour to Cape Town Airport. So really easy access. We've even had guests stay here and then do day trips into Cape Town if they didn't want to actually stay in the city. So this is a map of the farm. So it can be quite intense to look at. As you can see, it is quite big. This isn't even the whole farm. This is really just the area that's got the accommodation on it. Obviously, there's a huge amount else of sort of livestock in fields. There's a lot of agriculture here. So there is just so much more to the farm than just this map even. Now, as you can see, the farm is split across this road that runs through the middle. And that actually, I feel they're really lucky geographically to have that, because it splits the accommodation area, or the main accommodation area, and then the kind of main farm. So you enter the farm through this entrance here, and off in this area, if you head left as you drive in, you have the kind of main sort of VAF area, the main Manor House, the Deli and VAF restaurant, which are the two restaurants, and then the farm shop and butchery, and also their homewares shop just down here. And guests can do wine tastings here. It's really just lovely sort of buzzy area, and you do get guests sort of from the local area who come here to dine, to shop as well. And if you get sort of filtered off to the right, you have the cellar door here, the Roan homestead, and this area is actually much more commonly used for day visitors. So guests who are coming in, you know, just to have a wine tasting and things like that, they get sort of fed over here. So what's really nice is the main area doesn't get really overcrowded, and you know, where the accommodation is, you don't have day visitors kind of walking past the accommodation and things like that. So it does feel very private when you're staying here, despite the fact that there are day guests. So down near the main area, we've got the VAF Garden Suites. These are, I suppose, almost the most luxury in terms of their design, and they're really near to the main area, so they're perfect for couples or anyone who kind of just wants to be in the sort of in the thick of it. And then you head over the road, it's about 200 meters, and then you've got the so you've got the orchard cottages in the middle here. There's 14 of these, and they're fantastic for families. It's a really lovely little area here. We've got Bertha's Retreat, which is 18 cottages. They're 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and these are being renovated actually at the moment. So they're having the second bathroom added at the moment. This should be sort of hopefully completed sort of soonish. And this area has sort of was built for sort of incentive groups and things like that, and it's fantastic for a big group. You've got kind of really lovely communal areas. You've got a natural pool here, so it's quite often used for wedding groups as well, but guests are of course more than welcome to stay here sort of individually. We actually did that when we stayed here back in February. And then you've got the exclusive use cottages. So you've got Cottage 1685, which can sleep up to 10 people. You've got Trout Cottage, which sleeps up to 6. And then the Mountain Villa up here, which is 12 packs. Now, Trout Cottage is going to be leaving the inventory from January 2023. So this can be sold up until then, and then it will be leaving the inventory. And when there may be a replacement for it, we're not 100% sure yet. This document, the Farmstay Favorites document, is I'll send to you actually after this. It's really useful for just a quick glance of the accommodation options on Boschendal, and then all of the included activities that you have on the farm, food and drink, and then the extra farm activities as well. So I will go through all of these throughout the presentation, but I'll also send you this document because it is just really easy, quick glance with links in it, really useful. So the main manor house is kind of, I suppose, the centre of Boschendal, and it's the centre of that main area. You walk up the path with beautiful big trees either side, and then this really stunning manor house in the middle. And at the moment it is actually being taken over by Norval Gallery, and it's got an amazing art installation here. So it's really just lovely to visit there, and they've had just so much interest in that. So another quick overview of the accommodation here. So you've got the VAF cottages, of which there are 7, and these are small and large. They're 1 bedroom, they're both 1 bedroom, but the large has just got a slightly larger sort of living area, and you could fit sort of 1 small child in there. So they're kind of perfect for couples, really. Then we've got the 14 orchard cottages, ranging from 1 bedroom all the way up to 4 bedrooms. You've got the retreat cottages, which are currently 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom, but they are being renovated at the moment, and they will be 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom after this renovation. You've got Trout Cottage, which is 3 bedrooms. And as I said, this is leaving the inventory from January 2023, so it can still be sold for 2022. And I mean, you've got the, if guests do want a kind of really good family option, 3 bedrooms, the orchard cottages, there are 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom orchard cottages. There's also the 4 bedroom, 4 bathroom as well. So there is sort of other options for 2023 onwards. Then got Cottage 1685, which is 5 bedrooms, so it sleeps 10, and that's split over the main cottage, and also they've got the annex. So I'll sort of go into a bit of that later, but it's a really great family option there. And then the Mountain Villa, which is 6 bedrooms and has just had a beautiful refurb and is looking really stunning. So starting off with the VAF garden suites. So these are the ones that, as I said, are just down here near the main area. So they're a really lovely option for couples. You've got the small suite, which is got a sort of just slightly smaller living and dining area. And then you've got the larger suites, which can have a bedroom added. So they've got really stunning interiors, kind of that sort of farmhouse style interiors here. So this is the small suite, and this is the kind of living and dining area that you get here. And then the large suite, the living and dining area is actually considerably larger, and you do have this this lovely seat here, which can be turned into a day bed for a small child. So we wouldn't recommend too many children in here. And then you've just got a lovely big dining area as well. And they've all got a sort of outdoor terrace with a braai. So guests, if guests wish to, at all of the cottages, they can self-cater. So they can kind of do a mix of dining in the restaurants and dining in their cottage. The orchard cottages are just over the other side of the road. So as I said, you kind of it is a drive, really. You could cycle up to the orchard cottages, and there are porters on the property. So if guests aren't self-driven, then they have sort of transfers from the main area up to their cottages on the other side of the farm. So the orchard cottages range from 1 bedroom up to 2 bedrooms. So they have 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, and 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. Then they've also got the 3 bedroom cottage and the 4 bedroom cottage. So they've got a lovely outdoor area. All of them have an outdoor area, and again, a braai area as well. So guests can self-cater here really easily. It's just such a lovely space for families here. They've got a main pool, which is sort of shared at the Orchard Cottages, and it's just set over the beautiful big lawns. So there's so much space. What makes it amazing for families is that children can just run free, which when part of a sort of wider Africa itinerary, especially on safari, kids can't always just sort of run around. So it is a really lovely kind of big space for kids to just be outdoors running around. Then we've got the retreat. So this is the retreat as it is at the moment. It is undergoing the refurb. So it's just over here. And there's 18 of these cottages, and then it's got a kind of main dining area, a little lounge area. What makes it great for conferencing is that it's got a sort of media room as well. So it really, really suits a big group. What you don't kind of realize from this map in terms of scale is quite how far apart the cottages are. They're not really close to each other, so you kind of almost have no idea that the other sort of little pocket of cottages is even there, which makes it feel, despite the fact that you're on this huge farm with really quite a lot of accommodation, it does feel really small. It feels like you're only part of that sort of 14 or 18 cottages. So as I said, you've got a bit of a reconfiguration coming with the retreat. They're sort of moving it around, so they haven't kind of they've extended it ever so slightly, but they've also reconfigured the space really cleverly to be able to add a second bathroom and also just make the space a bit more functional with sort of indoor outdoor. And there's a sort of new decked area at the front and the back of the cottage. At the back of the cottage I stayed in, there's the most incredible view of the mountains, so having that decked area at the back would just be so stunning. So this is as they are at the moment. So you can kind of get an idea of the space. And this is my kind of dodgy iPhone image that I took of one of the sample cottages. They had sort of redone 2 of them. And so as you can see, there's a bit of a redesign in terms of the interiors. And then in this bedroom, you've got an ensuite that's been added. So one of the bedrooms is ensuite and one of the bedrooms has got the main bathroom. So they'll just be we imagine just so much more functional now that you've got that second bathroom. There's lovely shared areas here, which is again what makes it so lovely for groups. You've got the sort of fire pit area, and there's the natural pool with amazing views of the mountains. And then all of the cottages, this is kind of where the outdoor space, how the outdoor space will be, but it'll just be decked out the front of the cottages. And this is the kind of main lounge area, which again is having a little bit of a refurb, and they're keeping some of the key features, but just sort of a bit of a soft refurb in here. So we will get you images of the new retreat cottages as soon as we've got them. The new ones that we saw that had just been kind of literally just been finished looked absolutely stunning. So we're really, really excited. I'm really excited for the kind of new look there. And then we've got Cottage 1685. So this is moving into kind of the exclusive use options at Boschendal. So Cottage 1685 is set off by itself just up here. It can sleep up to 10 packs. So you've got the main cottage and then also the annex. So the main cottage, the kind of interiors have been kept in a really heritage style. So this cottage was actually built for Cecil Rhodes. He only stayed in it once before he passed on. And he was actually, he did own the farm at one point through its very long history, and was actually quite influential in terms of the planting of the fruit in the orchards here on Boschendal. So really kind of changed the face of the farm and what it produced and what it is still producing now. So they have kept the real heritage style here. And as you can see, it is just that really beautiful, sort of very original qualities to it. So it would be really perfect for a family, particularly, I think, a multi-generational family. If you've got grandparents traveling together with the family, they can have the annex that's set slightly away, but on the same sort of area, or even sort of teens who kind of want their own space. The annex is this lovely little almost self-contained cottage as part of 1685. There's a private pool here, and there's also a private dam as well. And then on to Trout Cottage. So I will go into Trout Cottage, but I won't sort of do too much detail. But if there are any last minute bookings for later this year, then it can still be sold throughout 2022. So Trout Cottage is just up here. Obviously, as I said before, it looks like it's really close to 1685. It really isn't. There is actually quite a significant distance between all of the cottages and all of the properties on Boschendal. So it's 3 bedrooms, again, a really great family option. And it is actually for local bookings, it is actually pet friendly in Trout Cottage, which is really nice for local people staying and wanting to bring their dog, for example, with them. We've then got the Mountain Villa. So this was more recently refurbed, and as the name suggests, it is situated right up here in the base of the mountains. So it's got the most incredible vantage point, and there's just insane views over the farm. You get just amazing views from here, and from this huge pool, as you can see sort of from this photo. So as you can see, slightly more modern interiors here, and this is very similar to what the retreat cottages are going to be looking like. So it's you can see the kind of similarities in the interiors there. So this can sleep up to 12 people. It's a 6-bedroom villa, and it comes with its own full staff, so guests really needn't leave here when they stay. They can obviously get involved in any of the activities on the farm, and they can head down to the sort of wine tastings and the main restaurants as well if they wish. And as I said, I think earlier, there are porters, so you can get a transfer from the main area up to the Mountain Villa, because it is about a sort of 7 to 10 minute drive from the main area up here. And it also has its own private dam as well, I should say, so you can wild swim here as well. So it's just a really lovely sort of self-contained little area up at the foot of the mountains. It's really gorgeous. And then you're obviously on the farm. So Boschendal is a working farm. When you sort of are traveling around the farm, whether it is by foot, whether it's whether you're driving through the little roads, you really see evidence of the fact that it is a working farm. This is the photos that we actually took while having a bit of a tour. And you can see them, see people, these are the wine grapes. You can see people picking the fruit. You can see the orchards, and it is truly a working farm. They are producing livestock, fruit and veg produce, and obviously wine. And it is being distributed in the local area. It's being sold in markets in the local area and also overseas in terms of the wine. So amazing fresh produce. So as I said, guests can self-cater really easily in their cottages. So they can go and buy delicious fresh produce and kind of cook for themselves here. So 90% of all the food served in the restaurants here is sourced from the farm. So that includes the livestock and all the fruit and veg. There is really so much being produced here. So you've got the main VAF restaurant, which is the kind of more fine dining, more formal dining option. It is still lovely casual dining. It's it's not super formal ever on Boschendal. That's what I love so much about it. But the dining here is slightly more formal, and it is just really delicious. You quite often really innovative food here. And just a really beautiful location overlooking some of the farm gardens. And then you've got the Deli, which is much more casual kind of cafe style dining. Both restaurants serve from breakfast through till dinner. The Deli, you get kind of a more casual dinner. You get really delicious pizzas, burgers, and then it's really amazing for breakfast as well. And then you've also got the picnics. So Boschendal is really well known for its picnics. You speak to kind of anyone who's grown up in this sort of area, so often they'll say, oh yeah, been for a Boschendal picnic when I was sort of 10. They've been doing it for years, and it really is so iconic to Boschendal. And even we sort of encourage, if guests are staying in the area and not at Boschendal, they can come in onto the property and they can have a picnic here on the lawns. And this is done from Thursday through until Sunday. And it's just such a lovely experience, sitting under the trees, there's usually live music and just the most delicious food. And then, of course, being a wine estate, there is wine tasting as well. So they have the kind of big wine tastings that they do for big groups. And then we had a much more kind of casual, lovely wine tasting just outside the main VAF area. And it just, such delicious wine. So guests can have a farm tour here, which is a really nice way of kind of getting a real understanding of what they're doing on the farm, and also the innovative ways in which they farm as well. They can head out mountain biking, so it's not just about the farming side of things and the food side of things. There is 65 kilometers worth of length of mountain biking trails through the mountains, so it's an amazing mountain biking destination. And then, of course, hiking as well. So we actually went up with a guide, and I would definitely recommend going with a guide. You kind of get a really amazing insight into the wider area that you're kind of looking out over, and there's also some lovely little historic sites on the farm as you're walking up through the mountains. So this photo on the right is one we took of an old silver mine. I actually didn't go in there because it was far too claustrophobic, but I think my colleague Catherine snapped this photo, and it is just an amazing insight into the different ways that the farm, the different things the farm produced or attempted to produce throughout its lifetime. You also can go horse riding. So this, I thought, was a really lovely way to see more of the farm than on foot. You can go out and see the kind of model farm that they're doing and the kind of different ways they're researching more sustainable ways to farm. And it is obviously, this backdrop is just stunning. To head out on the horses is really beautiful. So you've got the farm shop, as I said, really lovely for guests to be able to go down and buy their own produce. And there's a butcher, there's a baker, there's all the fresh produce down here. And it's just, we did it one evening. We'd had a long day, and we just went and grabbed a load of produce, took it back to our cottage, and had just a lovely dinner, really chilled out in our cottage. And then there's also the homewares shop as well. So absolutely beautiful products in here. The Small World marketing team might have done quite a bit of damage in this shop. We definitely cleared them out quite a bit, but just such beautiful. I could have brought home much more than I did. I could have filled another whole suitcase, I think. And then a really lovely kind of unique point of Boschendal is really just how geared towards families they are. So they've got the Tree House, which is their edu-play centre for kids. So guests staying at Boschendal, they can put their kids in here free of charge for one session, and then after that it is paid, but it's just such a lovely opportunity for parents to be able to go off and do an activity themselves and know that their kids are going to have the absolute best day ever. There's this really cool outdoor play center, and then they've also will take the kids out foraging, and they'll make their own lunch. They'll go and collect the eggs from the chickens. So they get really involved with what's going on the farm. It's really educational, but just such fun. I know that when Anita went here with her family, her kids just never wanted to leave. It's just such a really cool, just little space, and just really amazing for getting kids outside. There is no screens in sight here, and they just have the absolute best time. And then Boschendal is also hosts weddings. So they have two really beautiful wedding locations. They've got the Olive Press, and then they've also got the at the Roan Homestead, they host slightly smaller weddings as well. I think it's 50 packs maximum, and I mean that backdrop is just absolutely stunning. So this is at the Roan Homestead, so just a really beautiful backdrop for weddings and for those photos. And then a really lovely addition that sort of came about during COVID and has carried on is the Friday night market. And when we stayed at Boschendal, sadly, we had to leave on the Friday night. So we didn't get to go, and everyone was trying to get us to extend our stay. And it is just an absolute buzz here. So they have stalls from all over the local area, and they have a lot of local guests come down, and it's just such a lovely buzzy vibe for international guests as well, to really get involved. And they have live music, and just loads of really amazing stalls here. And they also have been doing a drive-in cinema. So this is more so in the summer months. So it's not on at the moment because it is winter. But they set up a screen in one of the back fields, and everyone can drive in and watch a movie, which is just such fun and really cool. And they also have been doing Friday night swims. So Boschendal is such a fantastic wild swimming location. They've got dams all over the farm, and some of them are just really brilliant for wild swimming. So they do an organised wild swimming. Again, in the summer, it would be bitterly cold at the moment in there, which is, for some people, it is definitely not for me. But for us, really, Boschendal is all about getting out into in touch with nature, being able to just have kids run free, get really in touch with the farm, eat just absolutely delicious food, and get really active. There's just so much to do here. We were here for 3 nights, and kind of just about squeezed in most of the things we wanted to do, but we could have easily stayed for much longer. It is just such an amazing location for couples and families alike.